Hiya, Silverback, how are you? And, okay. Hope you're doing well, Silverback. I know a lot of people watching Chaz's stream today due to the fact he's actually doing a race watch-along, but I'm also doing my own race watch-along, and let me just draw the curtains because of the sun. It's a lot better. Piastri has already got the first vote. Yeah, I'm doing well today, Silverback. I hope you're doing well. Of course, if you watched my qualifying stream yesterday, I was spent the whole stream comparing 2024 McLaren to the 2003 Williams team when he had BMW engines, and of course he had Ralf Schumacher and Montoya driving for them. I think it's a bit harsh that you've turned your back on Chaz like that, but I mean, because I know he had a stint drawing like the early part of 2020 where he didn't do any streams because he was just so. I think something during the pandemic happened to him. The race has not started. For those of you wondering, Leclerc will start pole position, but despite the fact, of course, Max Verstappen. Hamilton's up to second. Hamilton is up to second, folks. Piastri's up to fourth. Norris is down in seventh. Verstappen has already got his way up to ninth place, up to the Kemmel Straight, but he's fighting Alex Albon. Alonso's up to eighth. Oh, Gasly. Oh, Gasly's dropped to 13th. Oh, Perez is trying to switch positions, but of course Hamilton's got second place back. Okay, I think we'll just stop. Let me just talk about the race instead. But of course, Leclerc is 8 tenths ahead of Hamilton. He's absolutely leaped into a fantastic lead already. Oh, apparently Hamilton has got some sort of leak in his coolant. Apparently his cooling system has a leak, which is pretty worrying. Verstappen is all over the back of Alonso. I think it's pretty much a matter of when Verstappen gets to the podium places. Perez, I think his job today is to try and hold on to a place in the top 5 and make sure he doesn't drop too far back. Verstappen has inevitably overtaken Alonso up the Kemmel Straight. No surprises there. But Norris has just set the purple sector for sector 1 thanks to DRS. Goodness me, of course, looking at the tyres, of course, Sainz and Zhou are starting on the hards, Ricciardo's on the softs. And as to be said, Lando Norris is only one place ahead of Max Verstappen, which is, well, it's actually a bit worrying because obviously we all know Verstappen started the race with a 10-place grid drop. And honestly, this is really quite worrying for Lando, considering the fact that he gave up the win last weekend to Piastri, and Piastri is very much... I know this seems a bit premature to say it, but it does feel like momentum has shifted quite dramatically at Team McLaren, despite the fact that Norris is the one miles ahead of the championship. And Hamilton takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Surely, when we get up to the Kemmel Straight, this is going to be Hamilton's going to take the lead on lap 3. Oh my God, goodness me, I completely underestimated Lewis Hamilton today, because I don't even have him as an option on my who can win the race list, and for the second day in a row, my poll does not include the name of the person who, well, I mean, Leclerc took pole yesterday. I didn't include him as an option for who could take pole, and now Hamilton is taking the lead. My God, but Max Verstappen's pace is phenomenal, a 1:49.8. Just 2 hundredths faster than Hamilton. Verstappen and Norris are 7th. Who would have thought that, eh? Apparently Zhou Guan Yu is in trouble, but not that we care. Oh, yeah, he's struggling through Puon. He's going to retire soon. He's definitely got a mechanical issue. Hamilton, new fastest lap, 49.1. Ridiculously quick. So yeah, I think, my God, Zhou is going ridiculously slowly. He's definitely got an issue of some sort. Of course, there's been no changes in the order ahead. Of course, Albon is still in the top 10. My God, Zhou's going to get lapped. Zhou is definitely getting lapped. This doesn't look good for Zhou Guan Yu. Hang on a minute. Zhou's now stopped. Oh, Zhou's picking up speed again. Oh, he's actually flying through the back straight up into the final chicane. Oh, he's... Don't know what happened there. Don't know what's happened. But that incident has left him 80 seconds behind the race leader already. Silly me thinking Perez had a chance of winning this race, because Lewis Hamilton is flying up front. Let's see the new lap times. My God. How on earth did Lewis Hamilton do a lap time that was, what, 8 tenths faster than everyone else? That is absolutely, well, 8 tenths faster than, what was it, Charles Leclerc, who, I mean, well, was literally struck, well, for some reason, I have no idea, but I think Mercedes have definitely found the sweet spot in their performance range, and it has to be said, I think Lewis might be regretting making that move to Ferrari because just look how quick he is today. Just like in Silverstone, okay, I wouldn't say they necessarily are the best package as Silverstone, but the improvement Mercedes have made in the past 3 or 4 races has been phenomenal. Oh, well, Hamilton's just set a purple sector 2. And what can be said, this honestly does feel like watching Hamilton back from like his domination period between 2014 and 2020 all over again. He's just so comfortable leading at the front. I can only guess Verstappen is biding his time and looking after his tyres and hoping Norris pits before him. And I think the strategy at Red Bull will be for Verstappen to do a longer opening stint than all the other cars in front of him in the top 8. My God, Zhou is now what 1 minute 36 seconds beyond the race leader already. He's really seriously losing time. He's got some serious car issues. I think he's lapping at least 3 seconds. Oh, he's going really slowly down the straight and. Oh, right. I think, yeah, Zhou's gone to the pits. Yeah. For a moment, I thought Zhou. Yeah, Zhou's a lap down, but. Oh my God! Well, apparently there's people think Norris has a chance of winning, but currently he started 7th place, and I have to say, there's not exactly much overtaking action that's been going on for the past 3 or 4 laps. Just seemed to have settled down ever since Lewis Hamilton took the lead off Leclerc on lap 3. All right, okay, so you don't mind who finishes first for McLaren, yeah, but I know the Constructors' Championship is more important for prize money, but the Drivers' Championship gets all the publicity from the journalists and the media and the fans, so... Oh, and Nico Hulkenberg has gone to the pits, and it appears that he could be joining Zhou Guan Yu in retirement. My God, my God, Hulkenberg has left the pits. I don't know why he was taking a pit stop after, what was it? Just after 7 laps, but he's gone on the hard tyres. Hulkenberg has switched to hard, but of course it has to be said, Haas have not been quick this weekend. They really have not been quick at all, so... But I think at least this early pit stop will allow Hulkenberg plenty of fresh air in front of him to run in. Something that practically everyone in front of him, except Lewis Hamilton, does not have. I have no idea what happened to Zhou Guan Yu. He definitely had a mechanical failure or technical issue. And that gap between Hamilton and Leclerc just seems to be eking out to 1.8 seconds. Of course, Lewis Hamilton still winning at the age of 39 years old. Ricciardo and Albon have gone to the pits. Well, I mean, McLaren are the second oldest team in Formula One, so in a sense, they are one of the very few teams that can claim to actually have a heritage that lasts as longer than any certain drivers in the sport. Of course, I know Williams have got their fanboys, but the problem is Williams have not won a race since 2012, so... I know you get some fanboys and fangirls of Mercedes, but of course we all know that's most people who call them Mercedes fans have been for the most part Hamilton fans, but of course Hamilton's leaving at the end of this year, so it does remain to be seen what the Mercedes fan base will look like in the future. And of course, next season, I think, is almost for certain going to be the first ever season that Mercedes have competed in Formula One where they do not have a world champion competing for their team. As long as, of course, the likes of Verstappen and Alonso stay put at Red Bull and Aston Martin. And no one in the top 9 has done a pit stop yet. Oh no, that's a very interesting thing to say there, McLaren has had the best drivers of all time. Well, they've had Lewis Hamilton, but the likes of Vettel, Verstappen, and Michael Schumacher never raced for them. I mean, I know they had a brief stint where they both had the likes of Nelson Piquet and Nigel Mansell race for them, but I think in Nelson Piquet's case, that was for a privateer team using McLaren chassis at the back of the grid. I mean, you could compare that to Ferrari. You've had Vettel, Alonso, Raikkonen, Michael Schumacher, Prost, Mansell, Jules Villeneuve, Niki Lauda. Who else is there? Fangio, Ascari, Mario Andretti. Giuseppe Farina, Jody Scheckter. My God, it really has been an extremely long time since McLaren won that Constructors' Championship. Of course, their most recent Constructors' Championship just came 1 year after Williams won their last Constructors' title. Of course, 97 was also the last time Williams won the Drivers' Championship. But yeah, Verstappen and Russell have gone to the pits. Verstappen is pitting early. It looks like Verstappen might... I'm not sure how wise that is, but this is all going to be contingent upon Verstappen getting fresh air and making sure that he can clear traffic quickly. But of course, he's got Russell just in front of him, so he's going to be doing the undercut. 20 minutes to talk about Kimi. We are slacking today. Dude, I have spoken about Kimi Räikkönen so many times that I've completely ran out of topics things to comment about Kimi Räikkönen's career now. There's just nothing left for me to say. Like, at this point, I might as well do a tribute video to Kimi Räikkönen's career and just do a video saying something like how Kimi Räikkönen was the best driver in the world between 2003 to 2007. That's it. I don't know what else I could really add apart from like some funny snippets like how Kimi Räikkönen basically almost bankrupted Lotus. And Gasly and Sargeant have pitted, and Hulkenberg has already jumped Hulkenberg has jumped Gasly, so I suppose Hamilton's pitted. Hamilton's gone to the pits, and so has Perez. And Piastri. Hamilton, Perez, and Piastri are in the pits, folks. Well, that is early, that I've got to say. I know Verstappen pits, but of course I think that's because Verstappen wants clear air, but Hamilton pitting so early is a bit of a shock, to say the least. And that means it's a Ferrari mod too, folks. Grazie ragazzi. Has to be said, Carlos Sainz is doing very well on the hard tyres, considering he's only 5 seconds behind the race leader and his teammate. Gasly, Bottas, Verstappen, Russell, Piastri, and Hamilton have all switched to hard tyres. Albon is is on his second set of mediums, so he's going to have to pit again because, of course, you must do the race on 2 different compounds. Hello there, Keith Achua. I hope you're doing well. Of course, I have to say, your comments, I've actually become a lot more interesting recently because when I first encountered you, you used to repeat a lot of the same comments, but now, of course, you have mixed it up a bit recently. Oh, Leclerc's pitted. Leclerc's gone to the pits, folks. Where's Leclerc coming out? Is he going to come out in front? Nope, he's failed to jump Hamilton. Oh, Perez has overtaken Piastri. And Max Verstappen, new fastest lap of 48.4. My God, Verstappen, I'm just going to say this. If he didn't have the grid penalty, he would be leading this race by 20 seconds. Thank goodness Max Verstappen got a penalty today because I've got to say it. His pace is absolutely insane. It is just, it's the speed he's got. He's actually only 5.8 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, who is, in my books, the net race leader on in terms of the fact that Sainz, Norris, and Alonso have still yet to pit. Only 5.8 seconds behind Hamilton. That is insanely quick for Max Verstappen after just 12 and a half laps of the race gone. My God, that's just... Gotta say, Max Verstappen and Red Bull and Adrian Newey are what I would call the cheat code in F1. But, speaking of which, Piastri sets a purple sector 1 and Leclerc sets a purple sector 2. Oh, and now Norris and Alonso's pitted, of course. Oh, apparently Lewis Hamilton is under investigation. Hamilton under investigation for an unsafe release. Oh, right. The rumor of Verstappen joining Mercedes is back on again. Well, goodness me. I mean, if Mercedes can carry on their progress, I mean, getting back to Verstappen would be absolutely perfect to get them back on track again. Apparently, Perez lost a lot of time due to a battery issue. I don't know what to say about that. Piastri, Perez. I mean, oh yeah, Piastri's jumped Perez, which is interesting. Those two were having an interesting ding-dong. Gotta say, Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari really did liven things up in the driver market. All right, Hamilton's under investigation because apparently he interfered with Piastri, I suppose. My God, I mean, this silly season is causing serious headaches across this paddock. And Norris is just 3 seconds behind his best mate, Carlos Sainz. Just so you know, I think Carlos Sainz did start the race on hard tyres, so he's definitely going long today, but he's only 10.6 seconds ahead of the net race leader, Hamilton, whilst Piastri is actually heading for a podium as it stands. And despite Verstappen's great pace, I mean, he is stuck down in what is basically a net P6. Of course, if he gets past Russell, I think we're going to have a few interesting radio messages down at Red Bull who, I mean, with their recent struggles, like, I think Christian Horner might be feeling a bit worried about whether Norris and Piastri could start digging into his championship lead. I thought Max was his bed, but me, I don't even know anymore. I don't know. I think the hard tyres look like they could last for about maybe 20 laps maximum. But of course, Norris is only 1.5 seconds behind Sainz now, and I think it's safe to say Sainz is probably stretching these hard tyres out for a bit too long, and I think... Oh, Norris has pitted. Oh. 1/3. Oh yeah, that'll be 15 laps. So, but Sainz has decided to stay out. So I think, I mean, I don't know when it is. I mean, let's be honest. I think Carlos Sainz needs a safety car today. I mean, it's interesting to see George Russell pitting early because we all know George Russell loves to try and stay out for a safety car, but yeah, I think, let's be honest, Carlos Sainz moving to Williams does look a lot more likely by every passing week. Oh, Carlos Sainz has touched the gravel. Oh, I think his tyres might be going off then. And look at that. Max Verstappen has leapfrogged Lando Norris. Staying out for so long has completely costed Lando Norris a lot of time. I think Carlos Sainz could still move to Red Bull if Max Verstappen was to join Mercedes. Like, I mean, if Verstappen was to join Mercedes, I think Red Bull would have no choice but to sign Sainz for 2025 because Hamilton's already at was it at Ferrari? Leclerc is committed to Ferrari. Is Alonso still the same driver as before? I'm not sure. I think Norris and Piastri will remain put at McLaren for the future. And Red Bull clearly desperately need a good number two driver alongside desperately need a team leader at their team because let's face it, Sergio Perez, as we've seen, cannot be trusted whatsoever. And I think you lose about like 23 seconds when you have a pit stop at Spa-Francorchamps because I know it is one of the shortest pit lanes. I know it's now probably one of the shortest pit lanes in Formula One right now, but you have to remember when you leave your pit, you must slow down for the hairpin before you exit, and the pit lane hairpin around here is actually a lot tighter than the La Source hairpin that you enter when you cross the start finish straight. So you have to slow down to like 20 or 30 miles an hour for that pit lane hairpin. So it does cost you about another second or two. Yeah, Kimi Antonelli will end up at Williams if Max heads for Mercedes. The race is on, folks. Sainz is riding it like Jay Sean. Well, I don't even know. I don't do it. I've already did that video the other day where I just basically told you I don't even listen to like modern pop and rap music anymore, and I've not really paid any attention for about 15 odd years now. So it's like I'm basically an old man at this point. I'm basically a boomer when it comes to music. Yeah, Carlos Sainz is still yet to pit. He's not made a pit stop. His hard tyres are now 17 and a half laps old. He's been going non-stop since the start of the race, and he is only 5 seconds ahead of the net race leader Hamilton. So yes, you are absolutely correct, NVD. Sainz has not pitted yet. Norris, new fastest lap, 47.5. Oh dear, I think but once again McLaren and Norris will be kicking themselves over a strategy because he's clearly, I mean, he's just done the fastest lap by at least well over 4/10 of a second ahead of Hamilton and Leclerc. I don't know. Good question. Who did crash at the entrance of the pit lane here at Spa? Like, can anyone remember? Like, Kiefer, can you tell me who was it crashed at the pit lane here? Because I have no idea. Indeed, Audi are taking one step ahead of everyone by bringing in the King Genius himself, Matteo Binotto, the king of strategy, car design, team management, despite his limited English. I mean, yes, I know we go away with it because of the fact that he was at Ferrari, but of course, now that he's going to be in charge of a team based in Switzerland with a German company managing it, I think unless he has like really good German speaking skills, I am going to be very interested to see how Binotto gets on at Audi. I mean, does he know how to speak German? Like, if he does, then yeah, he'll be fine. But if he does not, which I kind of suspect I mean, the thing with Binotto is that he did grow up in Switzerland, so maybe he does know how to speak German well, because surely he must have gone to like some German speaking schools, since of course there's only like a small percentage of the population in Switzerland that speaks Italian compared to most of what that country speaks, which is mostly French, German, and they also speak a native language called Romansh. All right, Kimi Raikkonen crashed in the pit lane in the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix practice. Well, I don't know, because it was a practice session, and of course, as you know me, I don't really care about practice unless, of course, something seriously bad happens, which causes like car damage or any sort of engine and gearbox changes that require that ends up resulting in a grid penalty. Well, you got to give credit to Lewis Hamilton. He streamed ahead of both Leclerc and Piastri at the start. Not Piastri, Perez, I beg your pardon. I don't even know, of course, despite the fact that Leclerc got a pole, I didn't even put him down as a potential race winner today in my survey. So at least I got one thing correct, because of course I don't really have a lot of faith in Ferrari's ability to execute victories and get results when they need it most. Yeah, I also only watch practice on highlights as well, because let's face it, it's practice. I mean, I know I did a couple of streams earlier on this year where I did practice for Monaco and Canada, but apart from that, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything like that again anytime soon. I don't think it's so much Red Bull running a one-car team. I think it's just the fact that Perez is now clearly getting exposed for being horribly mediocre. I know obviously Perez is in a competitive position, but his lap times have actually been kind of quite poor, considering what we've seen Verstappen do today. I mean, Verstappen's now within only a second of Perez, so I mean, on average, I think Verstappen has been lapping at least 7 times quicker than Perez, and Russell has overtaken Perez down the Kemmel Straight. And it looks as if Perez cannot get that position back, I think he will be getting team orders very soon and being told that Max Verstappen must pass him, because let's face it, Perez just simply doesn't have the pace or the skills or the wherewithal to be allowed to stay ahead of Verstappen, I beg your pardon. I think the problem, of course, with practice this weekend is that there's been a lot of rain on the track. I mean, Red Bull have got to swap the two Red Bulls, surely. And it looks like Hulkenberg has pitted once again. I mean, I don't know whether Haas's strategy is working out this weekend, but Alex Albon, on the other hand, is now running up in 9th place. So Williams, despite all their problems, are actually doing very well. Is there any rain in the forecast? I don't know about that, my friend. I don't know. But of course, we are now exactly 22 laps into the race. We are now officially at half distance. Hamilton still controlling this race very comfortably ahead of Leclerc. Of course, I think Hamilton is just going to manage the gap. Yeah, they were definitely. Oh, yeah, I think Perez has pitted, so any talks of team orders are already out of the window, since I think it's pretty safe to say Verstappen is going to easily jump Checo during these pit stops. I don't see Perez being able to stay ahead of Max. Carlos Sainz is in a race of his own. Of course, Carlos Sainz is now on a medium tyre, so it's going to be seen whether he can make the most out of these fresh mediums. Perez has already. If I was Red Bull, I would have kept Perez out to defend against Norris. That's interesting. Well, it does make you wonder, because of course today with Checo in a competitive position, like, it does make you wonder why on earth are Red Bull not utilising Perez as an actual driver who can actually defend against Lando Norris. Ricciardo up to 16th. Yeah, I'm not going to be talking about the back markers too much, to be honest. I don't really think I really want to concern myself too much with them lot, because I think there's clearly a huge gap between like the top 4 teams and the rest of the grid this season. And even if Aston Martin can only score like 2 or 3 more points than the rest of the season, I think they'll easily get hold of 5th place in the constructors. Lando Norris is only within a second of Max Verstappen. Of course, for some reason, of course, it's all about DRS. Perez sets a new fastest lap, 47.2. That clearly is working out well for the Mexican. Where is Norris? Then up the Kemmel straight. Can he overtake it? Not quite. Nowhere near close enough. Have Albon and Ocon pitting? I think, yeah, Albon's pitting. Yeah, Albon's now pitting, folks. And of course, he's now come out down in 16th place behind Ricciardo. Oh, that's not worked out well for Alex. But Ocon is still circulating up in 9th place. But of course, if he was to pit, he would also drop all the way down to 16th behind Albon. So it looks like Alonso is on course to score points today. Oh no, hang on a minute. I think I've just seen the number of laps everyone's just done on their hard tyres. So I think it's safe to say Ocon, Alonso, Gasly, Bottas, Stroll, and Magnussen are going to stay out for quite a while. And unless, of course, Albon can get past Ricciardo and Magnussen quickly, he's going to probably struggle to get points. So it's all about getting rid of Magnussen and Ricciardo ASAP from Albon. Otherwise, he won't get points. "25 laps on the board, folks." Of course, no one has got a lap down since, of course, the retirement for Zhou. Max, I've got to say, how many times have we seen Max and Norris fight for position this season? I think it's pretty safe to say Verstappen, I think, has got the mental edge on Norris, to be honest, when it comes to wheel-to-wheel combat. Oh my god. Oh, Sargeant's gone to the pits, and I don't know, is he coming out? Just see, but yeah, he's coming out. I thought he had stopped completely, he'd retired, I mean. Hamilton's now 2.5 seconds ahead of Leclerc, and it has to be said, it really does look like a comfortable win coming up for Hamilton. This is like walking on water for Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, I've got to say, Max Verstappen is managing those old tyres very well. I mean, Lando Norris, I do wonder if Lando's backed off in order to preserve his own tyres and avoid having his tyres destroyed by dirty air. Leclerc's gone to the pit, you're absolutely correct. Yep, I didn't notice. But of course, Leclerc's come out in 7th. Oh dear. I mean, he'd better get some clear air, because otherwise, yeah, he really needs to get a crack on with where he is now. 21.6 seconds behind Hamilton. Leclerc needs to get a crack on with his final stint and really bang into fast lap times, because otherwise Lewis Hamilton is really looking very, very comfortable to win today. 3.4 second pit stop. Oh no, that's not good. That's not good. Has to be said though, that only costed Leclerc 19 seconds, that trip to the pit lane. So even with a slow pit stop, that's pretty quick. Oh my god. I think Verstappen is going to pit next. Hamilton's, yeah, he's pitted. Let's see where he comes out ahead of Leclerc. That's the most important part. What is the gap between Leclerc and Hamilton? Oh no, I don't know. Leclerc's not got him. Yeah, he's still clearly ahead of Leclerc. Oh! But Leclerc, is he within? No, he's 3 seconds over Leclerc. I was going to say. I'm looking at the track map, and it looks like it's 2.5-second gap between Hamilton and Leclerc. He's pretty much maintained the gap during those pit stop sequences. So, geez, I think we do need a safety car, I'm afraid. And Russell's going to be, I wonder what Russell's going to do. Is he going to try and drive until there's a safety car, or is he going to try and stretch these tyres out until the end of the race? We all know what Russell likes to do. He likes to play... He really does like to play clever tricks when it comes to pit strategy, George, up to Russell. Most drivers seem to be on a two-stop strategy, except Sainz. Well, I mean, Sainz could be playing a huge factor because, of course, he's now only 1.2 seconds ahead of Hamilton. And, I mean, if Carlos Sainz can really hold Lewis Hamilton up, I think Leclerc could be coming into play here. New fastest lap for Piastri, 1:47.0. He is leading the race on the road, but, of course, he, along with Russell and Verstappen, have not done any new pit stops yet. And, well, Sainz and Hamilton is going to be very interesting to watch because I think if Sainz can hold Hamilton up, Leclerc could potentially be able to sneak past Hamilton to take the net race win. If Max came out ahead of Perez, I think the gap is now 16.2 seconds between the pair of them. So, like... Thing is, though, like, when Perez pitted, he was only a second ahead of Verstappen. So, I think Verstappen is actually losing time because his tyres are beginning to wear off quite horribly. So, if anything, I think this second stint for Max Verstappen is actually hurting his race. And I think he's only staying out in order to prevent Lando Norris from jumping him on the road, to be honest. I think that's what his target is because, of course, I mean, Lando Norris is the only real championship contender right now with everyone else miles behind him. Leclerc has just set a personal best of a 47.03, which is about 100 slower than what Piastri did on the previous lap. Pitting, Verstappen and Leclerc. Leclerc and Sainz, not Leclerc. Verstappen and Sainz are pitting, I beg your pardon. And now Norris needs to get a crack on with these next few laps because, of course, this is an opportunity to jump ahead of Verstappen altogether. And, of course, Perez is back in front of Verstappen, and he's almost 2 seconds in front of his teammate. So that has not worked out well. That has actually gone quite poorly for Verstappen, to be honest, because the gap between himself and his teammate has actually grown by about another second since Perez last pitted. And well, it looks like we will not be seeing, of course, any hopes of Carlos Sainz attempting to hold Lewis Hamilton up is gone out of the window because it just seems as if Ferrari do not believe in Sainz's ability to fend Lewis Hamilton off, and apparently it also appears Sainz's mediums have deteriorated too much. So, I mean, it looks like Leclerc is going to have to fight Hamilton on a road here. Oh, God. Norris has pitted. Thank you for the 3 likes. My God, Lando Norris has lost out horribly in those pit stops. Terribly. So, just so you know, Piastri and Russell are still not pitted. Yep, thank you, Silverback. 2.4, is that the second? Oh, right, the gap between Hamilton and Leclerc is 2.4. Yeah, absolutely. And Verstappen has got in front of Perez. I think that's definitely team orders coming into play at Red Bull. There's no way, was it, Perez was ever going to be allowed to stay ahead in front of Max. Just never. Not that anyone can argue with it, because, of course, Perez's recent form has just been so poor. I know last weekend there was quite a bit of debate over the team orders at McLaren, but I think this week, I think it's absolutely 100% fair what Christian Horner has done for Perez. Of course, Piastri has gone to the pits, which means that Russell is leading on the road, but of course Hamilton is still the net race leader, and it looks like, to be honest, Leclerc is just completely unable to make any impression on Hamilton, if I'm going to be honest. 4.4 second pit stops. What's with all these slow pit stops today up and down the grid? My God, what is happening? And Ocon has pitted, meaning that he's going to drop out of the top 10. And could it be? Could we be about to see the first point of the season for Sauber at last? Bottas is in 10th place, believe it or not. Looks like Sauber are beginning to cook that steak at last. Albeit 14 races into the season. And Verstappen, new fastest lap, 1:46.44. My word, Verstappen is flying today. But Norris has just set a purple sector 1. Oh yeah, Piastri. Oh, Piastri, 46.5. I mean, I said this before, but, I think McLaren do have the fastest car on the grid, but the fact is, I have to say both Piastri and Norris have actually disappointed, because it does appear to be that Ferrari's 2025 driver pairing, Hamilton and Leclerc, have been very much in charge of the race today, so McLaren might have the best car, but I think next season, Ferrari will have the best driver lineup on the grid. Oh, right. Was that me talking about Sauber finally cooking that steak? I mean, you got to give. I mean, I know Sauber has struggled a lot, but today Bottas has been driving extremely well, and of course, I know a certain with F1 Gaming is going to be kind of irritated to see that Bottas is actually a better driver than he gives him credit for. Oh, and Norris 45.45. He's got 8 attempts quicker than Verstappen on the previous lap. Game on! Game on in the Norris versus Max rivalry between the so-called two best friends in their e-gaming activities. No, oh, Russell, 6.5 seconds ahead of Hamilton, and makes you wonder, I mean, I don't know. I mean, can Russell hang on for the final 13 laps on these tyres? I don't know whether he's gone to the hard tyres, but my word, if he can cling on, I mean, the gap's now 6.6. Is Russell about to take a race win? 21 laps on the hard tyres. If he can just eke out another 12 laps out of these tyres and stay in the lead, we could be about to see another George Russell win. And I think, I think Mr. Total Wolf will be very happy about it because, of course, it's proof that Mercedes don't really need Lewis Hamilton to win races anymore. Wait, we could be about to see the championship go all the way to the wire in Abu Dhabi. Well, that'd be amazing to see because let's be honest, at the start of this season, I would have laughed my head off at the whole prospect of Norris taking the championship fight all the way down to the final race of the season. But as it stands, of course, Norris actually went a tenth of a second slower than the previous lap, so it's not like he's really digging to Verstappen's lead, I'm afraid. Look at that. Bottas is in 10th place. Can you believe it? Heavily criticised by many, but he's maintaining his advantage over Stroll, Ricciardo, and Ocon. I think Bottas' drive to 10th place could be one of the drives of the season. But Hamilton has got half a 6/10 quicker than Russell the previous lap, so we could be seeing a very few interesting final 6 laps here between the two Mercedes, depending on how quickly Hamilton can go. I would actually laugh my head off if Hamilton does close down on Russell, and well, Hamilton's just gone 7/10 quicker on the previous lap. So we could be on for a grandstand finish, but of course, I do wonder, could we see team orders come into play Mercedes if Leclerc is able to close in on Hamilton? But of course, we have to remember Hamilton is leaving Mercedes at the end of this season. And amazingly, no car has been lapped today, quite bizarrely enough. Even Logan Sargeant is able to sit on the lead lap. But of course, thanks to Spa's 4.3 mile layout, it does mean that you don't see cars get lapped here very often, if I'm going to be honest, like you see at many other tracks. Who would have put that? I mean, interestingly enough, all 4 drivers in my poll are not in the top 3. My God, F1, it really has become a lot more competitive recently. That's a very safe conclusion to make. But it has to be said, Sainz is now just 3 seconds behind Perez. And then, of course, there's the rest of the grid with Alonso 41 seconds behind Russell and just ahead of Bottas. I mean, who would have thought that a team struggling down in 10th place in Sauber are fighting Aston Martin, who are in 5th place? Remarkable turn of fortunes there at Sauber. I think, could we be seeing Sauber score some points towards the end of this season and potentially rescue themselves from the ignominy of finishing last place in the champion constructors? Oh my God, Mercedes pit. Nah, mate, they're not going to pit Russell though, because as long as Russell can stay in front, they are on course for a 1-2 right now. Mercedes are on course to get a 1-2 if Russell can make his tyres last until the end of the race. Although, having said that, I bet you Russell will be telling the whole world about how his car was literally 2 laps away from getting a puncture on at least 2 of his tyres. gap is only 4.4 seconds though between Russell and Hamilton, and I do wonder. I know some might say Hamilton could overtake Russell, but then, well, it looks like Hamilton will be free to race Russell because, of course, Leclerc is now only 4 tenths ahead of Piastri. So I think the chances of Leclerc being able to really cause any headaches for Mercedes is all but dead, to be honest. Because, I mean, Leclerc's now 9 seconds behind Russell. I have to say, I completely underestimated Mercedes' pace today. Piastri on for... No. I don't think Piastri's getting second. I think the only way you could get second if he overtakes Leclerc and then Russell pits. But Russell definitely has an opportunity to win the race if he can cling on to for the last 9 laps. Oh, Piastri's gone to third. Piastri's in third. I am wondering, has Russell got changed compounds yet? I'm not sure, but I am waiting for the graphic to turn up to show the tyre compounds. I think Russell started the race on mediums and he has been running on the hard tyres for like the last 22 laps. So I think, yes, he has changed compounds MVD. And yeah, no podiums for Ferrari. So of course the guy, the driver who started on Paul Leclerc is down in 4th, and Perez, who started 2nd, is down in 7th place. Oh dear, was Russell, who started, I think, 5th or 6th, is leading the race, remarkably enough. We've got 10th, 8 final laps coming up. We've got approximately 15 more minutes of this race to come. I think we all underestimated Russell's ability to do a one-stop. I never even thought it was possible. Yes, medium compounds and hard compounds for Russell. Russell started the mediums and his hard tyres are now 26 laps old. So yeah, every driver has already used at least 2 compounds that is required to complete the race legally. So yeah, Russell does not need to do a second pit stop in order to pass the regulations. He doesn't need to do another pit stop, as long as, of course, he doesn't have a puncture. And even if Russell was to get overtaken by Hamilton, I think second place would be a very good result for George. So, you know, his strategy has worked out exceptionally well. Got to give George Russell and Mercedes credit here. Absolutely brilliant strategy because, of course, yeah, Norris is closing on the Max again, but Norris doesn't seem to be able to find a way past Max Verstappen today. Oh, just less than 3 seconds in it between Russell and Hamilton now. It's getting close. And now with just 7 laps remaining. This is going to be a really close finish between the 2 Mercs. I mean, it does depend on how fast Piastri is. I think if Piastri does close the gap between himself and Hamilton, then we might see team orders at Mercedes, with, of course, Russell being told to move over for Hamilton. But I think as long as Hamilton is able to maintain a comfortable gap ahead of Piastri, and then I think Russell will be allowed to win the race. Oh. Oh my God. Oh, right. Bottas went to the pits. Oh, okay. So that's oh, so that's Sauber stuck on 0 points then. What a shame. But of course, Ricciardo will be taking the last point today in what has been a good drive for the Australian. Of course, it is very interesting to note that throughout Ricciardo's career, whenever there has been another Australian driving on the grid, that Ricciardo has always finished the season as being the second best Australian in the F1 season, whether that was 2011, 2012, 2013 when Mark Webber was there, and of course the past 2 years with Oscar Piastri on the grid. I mean, I know obviously in his first 3 years he was driving a HRT and a Toro Rosso, was Webber had a Red Bull, so it wasn't really a fair comparison, but I think, and I know it's not a fair comparison to make because, of course, Piastri's been driving McLaren, but of course, Ricciardo's returned to RB since leaving McLaren, but yeah, it's a very strange career trajectory, and of course, it is quite weird to see Ricciardo get points, considering he started a race on soft compounds, which is kind of a strange move, considering everyone else started on mediums and hards, and absolutely no other driver on the grid has attempted using mediums. And the gap between the two Mercedes is now just 1.4 seconds. I think as long as Russell doesn't hold Hamilton too much here, I think a race win is possible for George. Of course, Hamilton still has a gap of 5 seconds ahead of Piastri, so I don't think we're going to see team orders at Mercedes unless, of course, Russell, for some reason, starts to really hold Lewis up too much. But, of course, Hamilton is heading for the DRS zone, and, of course, Carlos Sainz has overtaken Perez, but we're not keeping out. But, of course, that's not what we're concerned about, although I have to say Perez is going to be finishing 8th, having started 2nd, which is honestly completely awful if you ask me. But Russell still clinging on to the lead. I think as long as Russell can keep Hamilton just out of DRS range, then I think a win is possible for Russell. But if not, 2nd place would be an excellent result for the Norfolk-born driver. So, well, this is going to be interesting. Hello there, Ilara De Lucia. I hope you're having a beautiful day here, wherever you are in the world. If the sun is out where I'm living here in the UK, of course, you want to see George Russell win the race. But he is under some serious pressure now from his 7-time world champion teammate. They've just come out of Pouhon, and now they're about to enter the straight, heading towards Blanchimont. It's going to be very interesting. Hamilton is now within DRS range of Russell. It's going to be an absolutely nail-biting final 4 laps between the two Mercedes drivers. Can Russell keep his nose in front? I think if Russell can keep his car in head within the DRS zone, then the win is his. But if he can't, well, 2nd place would be an excellent result considering he started down in 5th place today. So, and he started behind his teammate, so it's not like it was expected that Russell was going to beat Hamilton considering when he qualified. But so, getting 2nd would be a great result. But it's now just 8 tenths between Russell and Hamilton. Hamilton has got DRS, surely. Norris still has the fastest lap of the race. Just 3.5 more laps of Russell defending from Lewis. 30 laps Russell has done under hard tyres. This is going to be one hell of a victory if he can all pull this off. Piastri is 4.2 seconds behind Miss Russell, so I think unless Piastri suddenly pulls, like, I don't know, goes 2 seconds a lap quicker than the two Mercedes in the next 3 laps, I think there will be no team orders down at the Brackley-based team. Norris is half a second within Verstappen, but of course, I mean, Norris doesn't seem to be able to find a way past Max. And Max will probably yet again increase his championship lead. Despite, I mean, yes, we're having an exciting season of F1 racing, but Verstappen remains ever so consistent when it comes to scoring points. No matter how bad things get, Verstappen is just so consistent. He's just so consistent. No matter how fast or slow his Red Bull is, he's always in contention. Russell half a second ahead of Hamilton, and it appears to be with just over 2.5 laps to go. Oh, 2 tenths. Can he stay ahead? Russell, yes. As long as Russell can stay ahead in the DRS zone, and he can. And if we can use that dirty air to hurt Hamilton's tyres in the next couple of laps, then I think this race will be his. Ocon is in 10th place. Ocon has taken 10th place off Ricciardo. Of course, I think from a Mercedes and a Total Wolff point of view, they would prefer Russell to win the race because, of course, Russell is going to be driving with them next season, whilst, of course, Hamilton is departing. I think, obviously, Russell would like to win so they can prove to everyone that he is indeed more than capable of becoming Mercedes' #1 for 2025 if called upon so. Just so you know, I think if Carlos Sainz was to join Mercedes next season, then I think George Russell would probably be going out of his way to expect #1 treatment, considering he's been at the team since 2022. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. Ocon has overtaken Ricciardo for 10th. Sainz has overtaken Perez for 7th. And Alonso does a personal best in Sector 2. Oh, and Piastri just within 2.5 seconds of the 2 Mercedes. Oh, we could be getting a grandstand finish now, folks. The top 3 are so ridiculously close with just 1.5 laps remaining of this race. I mean, whilst, yes, Russell's been having to try and fend off Hamilton for the past few laps, Hamilton could be seeing an orange papaya cob appear in his mirrors in the next 3 miles. It's going to get close. It is looking tasty. And, of course, Piastri is on hard tyres that is only 12 laps old. So, I mean, despite the long-flowing nature of Spa-Francorchamps in contrast to the tight, twisty confines of Hungary, it proves that despite F1's attempts to improve overtaking with the ground effect regulations, track precision remains key. And yeah, Perez is gone to the pits. Of course, he's going to do a fastest lap attempt in order to take that fastest lap point away from Lando Norris for the sake of the championship fight in the drivers' standings. And, of course, the constructors' table, since, of course, every point counts. And, of course, we're on to the final lap. Piastri's just 1.7 behind Russell, but, of course, so it does make it, I mean, obviously, I think Hamilton will be looking in his mirrors as well as what Russell's having to do. I mean, Piastri is now within DRS range of Hamilton. What a finish this is. And it's been one hell of a defensive drive from George Russell. What a brilliant race George has had today. Full credit has got to go to the driver from Norfolk. Unbelievable race. And I think I'm going to give George Russell an A star. If he finishes where he is, then he's been absolutely superb. Driver of the race in my eyes, without a shadow of a doubt. Hamilton will get an A grade. Piastri will get an A grade as well. Leclerc, I'll give him a B grade considering he started on pole. To finish fourth is a poor effort, I'm afraid. But I suppose the Ferrari's lack of pace and their poor pit strategy costed them again. Verstappen, probably give him a B grade. Norris, I'll give him a B grade considering he should be doing more of that McLaren. Sainz, I'll just give him a C grade. Perez, it has to be a solid C minus. So disappointing considering he started second and he's on course to finish 8th. And Russell's won the race. Russell has taken his second win of the season. What a performance. Well deserved driver of the day and an A star from me. Alonso will get a B plus for his efforts to get 2 points for Aston Martin. Ocon will also get a B plus for his efforts for Alpine scoring the final point. I'll give a B minus to Ricciardo. I'll give a C grade to Stroll. Well, I think everyone else below Stroll will get a C. Albon, Gasly, Magnussen get a C grade. I think Bottas, I'll give him a B minus for running in the points for so long. And then Tsunoda, Sargeant will get a C grade. And I think Hulkenberg for his poor pit strategy, I'll give him a C minus. Yet, 361 points in the constructors' standings for McLaren. Of course, thanks to another terrible performance by Perez, they continue to close the gap in the constructors. But Verstappen does successfully keep hold of it, extend his championship lead over Norris. And it appears Perez completely failed to capture the what was it, the fastest lap point, remarkably enough. So what an end to the race. I mean, what a drive by George Russell. I think we've got to give congratulations to George, and of course yeah. Oh yeah, Perez did get the final, did get the fastest lap, I beg your pardon. Yeah, so yeah, Perez did do the fastest lap of a 44.7, which is about, well, I worked out, I mean, 42 points behind Red Bull now. So, congratulations to Mercedes. What a 1-2. It's like the old days all over again at Mercedes. And I think that is Mercedes' first 1-2 finish since, was it the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix? Because I can't remember. Did Russell beat Hamilton that day? Or was it in 2020 that Mercedes got 1-2? Can someone please inform me who's got the when was Mercedes' last 1-2 was? Because of course Russell's now just gone back in front of Hamilton in the driver's standings. Not that either of them are really in contention, but of course, well, has to be said, I think as long as the field stays close like this, I think Red Bull can continue getting away with having Perez as their number 2 lackey. Since, I mean, let's face it, Mercedes, McLaren and Ferrari seem to be too busy taking points off each other. Yeah, Hamilton's going to be so angry deep down for making a move to Ferrari, but I think with the amount of money he'll be getting paid in the next 2 years, I mean, his bank account will be happy with him, but I'm not sure his pride and ego will be particularly overjoyed with the move to Ferrari, since, of course, at Mercedes, they've got a competitive fast car yet again. And I want Pete, like, George and Russell, watch out for that one stopper. Yes, indeed, say. Yes, indeed. I think, does anyone have any comments on this race? Of course, Red Bull will have drivers about both of their drivers this weekend at both teams. Yeah. My God, the driver market is going to be a huge hot topic for the next 4 weeks. I'll tell you, with, of course, now that we are heading for the summer break. Of course, the Olympics is now on, so of course it's like, I mean, let's face it. Oh my God. Does anyone have any more comments about the race? I think yeah, just so you know, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, Thailand in the Olympics are, yeah, badminton's very popular in East Asia. That's not really a surprise, is it? Um, who is your driver today, folks? I think I'm gonna have to start a new poll just so for the sake of since of course this race has ended early due to the very fast nature of this track, of course. Well, Piastri actually had the best day out of the drivers I picked as potential race-winning contenders. Finishing third, I think I'm going to do my driver of the day poll. And I think George Russell is definitely my pick, but oh yeah, I have talked about whether the Olympics should add the motorsport to their roster. I think obviously if motorsport was to come onto the Olympics, I think thing is, like, not only could there be like a single seater Formula 2 style race like the A1GP Grand Prix events that we used to see in the past, but I think do not be surprised if the Olympics decide to add a motorcycling event. Although, of course, I know with motorcycling, there's only like 4 or 5 nations that really actively can participate in that sport these days, namely being, I think, Spain, Italy, I think Britain, France being like the big names, and I think Australia's another one. And unfortunately, I think I don't know how likely MotoGP would be added to the calendar there, but who knows? I mean, would they use? I think they would probably use the super bikes for if they did a motorsport there, if they did a motorcycling category. But I think for the single seaters, of course, that will be very hotly contested. Oh yeah, there used to be the old Super Formula Series where they used the football clubs. Like, for me, that was kind of really stupid and tacky because it made no sense. I know Super Formula came shortly after A1GP collapsed, but the problem with football clubs is that football clubs don't really like have that sort of connection with motor racing, like having nations being represented like A1GP did. I don't know why Super Formula was ever a thing. I think the Super Formula idea has to be just. I don't even know how that took off. Like I don't know. I don't even know how on earth the football clubs involved even agree to have their names included, since I don't think it got them any sort of publicity or any revenue, because of course, let's face it, football and motorsport are two completely different things. So I don't know why on earth they came with the idea, and not surprisingly, I think the series collapsed after just 3 seasons. But oh yeah, Chelsea sponsored Sauber back in 2012. I know about that, but I mean, at least with Formula One is a big motor racing series, so it's like, yeah. I mean, if you get your football logo on a Formula One car, then everyone will see it. But like, with a small time motor racing series like a Super Formula, it was never going to work out. And get your votes in for driver of the day. Piastri has got 2 votes. I think that's a very interesting one, if I'm going to be honest. Although I have to say, I think Russell definitely deserves credit, because what was it? 34 laps on hard tyres. That is a phenomenal stint. Even if you think Mercedes had the best car today, I think Russell definitely deserves credit for being able to hang on the way he did. Like, he pitted on just lap 10 and he held on and kept the lead when he took it. And even though he only ever led by 8 seconds at the absolute maximum, the fact is he controlled that race beautifully when he took the lead and managed to tip the tyres so exquisitely well, in a way that someone like Kimi Raikkonen or Alan Prost would have been so proud of in their peak. Oh yeah, Hulkenberg did compete for Germany in A1GP, and he dominated the 2006 to 2007 championship with them. So yeah, A1GP worked well because, of course, they were representing nations, and of course, with nations, it's a lot more clear cut, and it's not so much. There's not so much tribalism involved like there is with football, where, like, if you support Liverpool, Rangers, Celtic, Man United, then of course it gets very tribalistic. And let's face it, that's why I think Super Formula failed, because, of course, I mean, sorry, but the tribalism of football just does not fit well with Formula One or motor racing whatsoever. Like, I really don't understand that idea. Sorry, MVD, but of course, you use the F word, and of course, YouTube does not allow the FUCK word to be used on the live streams. You are not allowed to swear like that, I'm afraid. You cannot use words like that. That's not because I am banning you, but that's because of YouTube. YouTube has hidden your comment automatically. So even though I would like to show your comment, unfortunately, yes, I know I'm going to read your comment out anyway. Russell is the man, the effing man. Anyway, got to go. See you guys later. Yep, thank you very much for watching. And unfortunately, yeah, I know there's tribalism between Ferrari and McLaren, but it's not nowhere near like what football is like, if you understand what I mean. I don't know why people would want the idea of football clubs involved in motor racing. It just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I think, although of course, I think with like an Olympic Grand Prix series, I think the best way to run it would be, I don't know. I think Formula 2, I think, should be rebranded as being like a World Cup Formula Racing series instead of the usual format it's being run under, which is just basically a bunch of young drivers bringing money from like ridiculous oil sponsors from all over the world, driving for the likes of Premier, or ART, Trident, Uni, Virtuosi, Carling, and whoever the hell they drive for, like dams. I think obviously if Formula 2 took on more of an Olympic World Cup format, I think Formula 2 could attract more sponsors to the series. And of course, whenever the Olympics is on, I think once every 4 years, then they can hold a very special Olympic Grand Prix event where all the big F1 drivers like Ricciardo, Hamilton, Russell, Verstappen, and so on can go and represent their nations instead of course, driving for their usual Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren teams. And who knows, of course, there could also be another like A1GP World Cup event being held once in between those 4 years. Kind of a bit like, during like the same years as when the Football World Cup is being held, where like once every 4 years, then the F1 driver would then compete for another World Cup series, which I don't know, would be kind of similar to my idea of having like 6 races crammed into one weekend of racing, and then whoever the hell scores the most points in those 6 races also goes on to win the World Cup. Just like whoever scores the most points in 6 races for the Olympic Grand Prix will also be crowned the Olympic champion once every 4 years. I heard F1 teams didn't want all the drivers to be awarded with points. Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. I think it's much better we just have a top 10 system because, let's be honest, it's really not a good idea to be handing out points to backmarkers like Logan Sargeant and Zhou, who, frankly, like when you watch them drive, they don't deserve to be scoring points 95% of the time. And of course, Piastri has only had 2 votes, but I think my opinion would be George Russell has been my driver today because he's just been so good today. And I'm going to quickly go off for a drink, and I think if anyone's got any more questions, please ask me, because I think in about 10 minutes' time, I will end the stream. 10 minutes. Thank you for the likes. If anyone's got more questions, please ask away. Yeah, I know a few months ago, what was it? There was a proposal for the top 12 drivers to be awarded points, where apparently they would make it so that 8th place got 5 points, 9th would get 4 points, 10th would get 3, and then 11th and 12th would both get 2 and 1 point respectively. But of course, I think now a lot of teams have decided to turn their back on our idea, because I think obviously at the start of this season it did appear as if all the teams from outside the top 5 would struggle to score any points in particular, but ever since Aston Martin's drop-off in pace and, of course, problems afflicting the likes of Ferrari and Perez since the first 3 or 4 races of the season, of course, all the other teams, except for, of course, Sauber, have all been scoring quite a few points here and there. So I think for them, I think obviously the top 12 point scoring idea has finally been put to bed and has pretty much been flushed down the toilet. So thankfully, that terrible idea has completely disappeared, thankfully. But of course, Sauber remained 10th place in the championship, and Bottas, thanks to Ollie Behrman scoring 6 points at Saudi Arabia, Bottas remains 21st in this year's Formula 1 championship, which is, I mean, despite the fact that I think he drove very well today, and I would actually put him as a contender for driver of the day had it not been for the fact that this poll only allows 4 options. I think, turns out he only did 9 laps on the medium tyres. So, honestly, I think if Sauber had been more brave, I think Bottas could have well have clung on to 10th place just ahead of Ocon. And of course, when you consider the fact that Ocon and Ricciardo were dicing for position towards the end of the race, I think Bottas could have well have got a point, which is, I'm sorry, Sauber, like, you blew the chance of scoring a point today. That is really poor. Once again, Sauber's lack of ability to manage a race strategy is being exposed yet again, along with their terrible pit stops and technical issues. I mean, I've got to say, Audi and Matteo Binotto have got their work cut out with this Swiss team. Really got their work cut out, and yeah. Any more questions? Of course, there's 4 people still watching. Would you like to ask me anything? Because, of course, I think I'm going to be streaming for just another 5 more minutes before I decide to call it a day. I've not got a lot to say, if I'm going to be honest. Hello to anyone who's just started watching. Of course, I know everyone's on Treasure HG's channel. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to call it a day. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.